I thought I understood Singapore before I ever went there. After all, my husband grew up there and I've heard stories about Singapore many times. So in my mind, Singapore was somewhere between China and Canada, a mix of Chinese and Western culture. Then we actually lived there for almost a month with our 3 boys. I realized I couldn't have been more wrong. Singapore isn't somewhere in between. It's completely its own thing. And some of the biggest surprises weren't the famous ones tourists usually talk about. They were the little everyday moments and the everyday decisions that family there make that completely changed how I think about Singapore. When people think about Singapore, they usually think clean, safe, great food, strict rules. These things are true, but after living there for almost a month instead of just visiting, I realized that these are only the surface. For those who are new here, I'm Shui. I was born in China, moved to Canada when I was 15, married a Singaporean, and now we're raising 3 little boys in Vancouver. This past May, we spent almost a month in Singapore visiting grandparents, relatives, and friends. And because we were a family of 5 with our stroller, our kids aged 1, 3, and 6, we weren't just sightseeing. We bought groceries, rode the MRT almost every day, visited playgrounds, spent time in shopping malls, ate at hawker centers, waited for buses, and we got caught in tropical rainstorms a few times. In other words, we were lucky to have a chance to experience little pieces of normal life there. If you've already watched my 3-part Singapore travel vlog, you've probably seen many of these moments I'm talking about today. Some made me want to move there, and others made me appreciate Canada even more. After coming home, settling down, I realized there were so many things I didn't fully appreciate until I had time to think, especially when I was editing the vlogs. And those are the stories and findings that I want to share today, not as a tourist, but as a mom who had experienced everyday family life there. Eating out is cheaper than cooking? Yes, everyone expects Singapore food to be good. Kaya toast with soft-boiled eggs, Hainanese chicken rice, laksa, bagute, Hokkien mee, chendol, pandan cake. The food scene there were rivals with Vancouver's, and Vancouver is one of the most competitive food cities in North America. What I didn't expect was for eating out to be the obvious financial choice. A plate of char siu on soy sauce rice at a hawker center costs about $4.50. In Canada, the same plate is easily 3 times that, and that's before tipping, which doesn't even exist here. You pay the listed price, no math, no guilt, no 15 to 20% added on top. Then I looked at our grocery bills. Vegetables imported from Malaysia, bok choy, kangkong, 3 bundles for $3 when it's on sale. These are really cheap. Eggs, same or cheaper than home. But milk, yogurt, cheese is about 1.5 times the price because it's all imported. Beef is noticeably more expensive, and especially berries like strawberries and cherries is 3 to 4 times of what we pay in Canada. So the math just doesn't work out in favor of cooking. If we lived there, we'd eat out more for sure because hawker stalls are everywhere and they're cheaper than making the same meal at home. And somehow our kids gravitate to this food more than I expected. Maybe they got Singaporean taste buds after all. But that only makes sense once you understand the transportation. Cars aren't transportation. They are luxury items. Here's the thing nobody outside Singapore truly understands, and that's COE, the Certificate of Entitlement. It's not a tax. It's not a fee. It's literally the government-issued permission to own a car at all. Treat it as a license plate. It's separate from the car itself, and it costs roughly around 130,000 Singapore dollars. Add the actual vehicle, tax at nearly double of what you pay in Canada. An average sedan runs close to $200,000 in total. An SUV can push past $250,000. Here in Canada, with 3 kids, we never once questioned needing a car. It was just a necessity. In Singapore, owning one costs some families the equivalent of half an apartment. What do people do instead? They take the MRT and the bus. It costs between $1 to $3 a ride, no matter how far you're going. And the network is so dense, almost anywhere is reachable without a car at all. And I just realized that everything I just talked about, the hawker food, the groceries, the local eating, it all clicked into place. When you don't own a car, you don't drive to a big box store once a week like we do here. With Costco, you walk to the hawker center downstairs or on the way back home. You take the train to the mall. Your entire life gets built around what's within walking distance because that's really the more efficient choice, not a compromise. And this was the moment for me that I realized that Singapore is no longer somewhere in between. And I started feeling like it's a completely different operating system. The city isn't beautiful by accident. Once you're moving through the city slowly, when you're walking, you're taking a bus and train, instead of driving past it, you start noticing things. The whole country looks like a rendering that you would see at a real estate sales center. The flowers are well maintained, the bushes perfectly pruned, not a leaf out of place. That's an exaggeration, but you get what I mean. At first, I just admired it. Then I actually watched the workers doing it, hanging on the cords to trim the plants in hard-to-reach places, sweeping fallen leaves at the cloud forest with brooms and dustpans by hand in some parts of the city, block by block, every day. I've spent the last few years managing and renovating our own garden back home. I know exactly how labor-intensive this kind of upkeep is. In North America, this level of maintenance is just simply not financially realistic. High labor costs makes it impossible at this scale. In Singapore, it's just normal. It's part of what the city looks like every day. And it made me realize that this beautiful landscape isn't a decoration. It's a daily, deliberate choice the country keeps making over and over that we don't even see happening. Singapore isn't small, it just thinks differently. Growing up in a place where going camping every summer and skiing every winter is the go-to family choice. Plus, my husband being an avid diver and surfer, I always thought of outdoor space as something vast and untouched, like mountains, forests, lakes, places you need a car to reach. Singapore doesn't have this kind of wilderness, but it didn't feel like a lack. Once I've actually experienced it with the kids, nature here isn't something you drive out to find. It's engineered directly into people's daily life. There are playgrounds inside residential blocks, gardens woven in between the buildings. We didn't need a car to reach any of it. I realized that it's not a smaller version of outdoor life. It's actually a completely different design philosophy for what outdoor life is supposed to be. But none of these surprise me emotionally. People are kind, just differently. This is the one that actually changed something in me. After 20 years in Canada, I've gotten used to a specific kind of kindness. A stranger holding the door, small talking line, a neighbor checking in, someone on a hiking trail nodding with a grin, asking how your day is going when you drop off a package at the post office. It's just warmth that's spoken out loud. In Singapore, I kept bumping into moments felt like at first the opposite. People were polite, efficient, moving fast. There was once a stroller took some time to board the bus because it's just so big and heavy, and I tapped my card at the wrong reader. The bus driver was visibly irritated, and a few passengers at the back gave us a look. My first instinct was to think, people here are less warm. But the more I sat with it and talking to local friends, I realized that it wasn't even true. I had been measuring kindness using the Canadian standards. In Canada, kindness often sounds like holding doors, greeting strangers, checking in. Whereas in Singapore, I started to see a different version of it. Respecting someone's space, keeping up the pace, and try not to bother people unnecessarily. It's a very efficient system and culture. And that realization changed how I was interpreting everything I had seen for the past month. A few more things quickly about climate. It's a sauna all day, every day, all year. No real seasons, just summer forever. Heavy downpours hits for an hour, then dries up completely within half a day. Our closet basically shrank to one category. Every indoor space is air conditioned, so there's always somewhere to get away from the heat if we're out for half a day or even longer. The fast pace. Buses rush to stay on time. Hawker centers turn out food quicker than any Canadian food court. Even escalators run faster. Everyone is so efficient. And if you're in the way, you'll feel it immediately. Trust me, I've had it. Even crossing the street flips the rule. In Canada, a car slows down the moment it sees someone thinking about crossing, whether it's marked crosswalk or not. In Singapore, it's the opposite. Pedestrians yield to cars. You wait for your signal, you wait for a clear gap, and you do not assume a driver is stopping for you, regardless you're pushing a stroller or not. Mall culture. In Canada, a mall is where you shop and grab a quick bite. And here, it's a full lifestyle center. You have lunch there, there's a kids' play area, groceries, shopping, and dessert. As a family, it's easy to spend a half or full day entirely indoor. I've seen many travel videos end with whether they like that place or not. And I don't think that's the right question anymore. The better question is, what kind of life is each country trying to create? I think Canada gives my kids room, patience, space, whereas Singapore gives family convenience, efficiency, accessibility, and a different, quieter kind of connection. And neither one is better than the other. I came into this trip assuming Singapore would simply be somewhere in between the East and the West, but instead, I found a country confidently doing things its own way. And I left with a deeper appreciation for both Singapore and Canada. And if you just want to sit in the feeling of this trip without any of my narration, the 3-part silent vlog is linked here.